Before you click away from this video, ask yourself one question. Do you really want to know the truth behind Hollywood's red velvet curtains? Because what I'm about to reveal to you today isn't a romantic love story. This is an unsolved case. Secrets buried by power and money. And the price paid when a man dares to live true to himself. His name was Sal Mineo. And this is the story Hollywood never wanted you to know. 1955. A young Italian-American guy, only 16 years old, steps onto the big screen in the film Rebel Without a Cause. With deep, soulful eyes, a handsome face full of emotion, and acting talent that shook the entire United States, Sal Mineo became a phenomenon. He wasn't just an actor. He was the icon of a young generation, craving freedom, searching for their own identity. And Hollywood loved him, at least back then. Sal Mineo was the first Italian-American actor to receive 2 Oscar nominations before the age of 23, a record that still hasn't been broken to this day. He starred in Giant, in Exodus, in a series of bold, challenging roles. But then, everything started to crumble. Not because he lacked talent, not because he wasn't handsome enough, but for a reason that, at the time, Hollywood considered an unforgivable sin. Sal Mineo was gay. And in the 1950s and 60s, in a Hollywood built on fake perfect images, that meant a death sentence for his career. But Sal didn't choose to completely hide. He couldn't, because his heart already belonged to a man, a legend, a rebel icon that the whole world knew. His name was James Dean. Just hearing that name, you can picture an icon. Leather jacket, slicked back hair, rebellious eyes full of allure. He was the man every woman wanted to conquer and every man wanted to be. But behind that dazzling curtain, James Dean hid a secret named Sal Mineo. They met on the set of Rebel Without a Cause. On screen, they were perfect co-stars. But behind the stage curtains, in the shadows of luxurious hotels in Beverly Hills, they belonged to each other. Not the kind of belonging the press writes about, but passionate nights, whispers in the dark, and a promise James Dean once made to Sal. If I die, burn all the private films we shot. No one is allowed to see them. Why would a young man, at the peak of his career, say something like that? Because James Dean knew full well that Hollywood could kill anyone with just a headline, and that terrifying prophecy came true. One day, James Dean received a threatening letter. An anonymous note slipped into his dressing room, written in pig's blood. Choose your career, or that little boyfriend of yours. James was terrified. He cut off contact with Sal for 3 weeks, but Sal didn't let go. He showed up right on the set of Giant, standing under the sun for hours just to say one thing: if you run away, I'll die. 3 weeks later, James Dean really did die. A car accident. Maybe. But an anonymous mechanic once revealed to Confidential magazine that the brakes on the Porsche James was driving had been tampered with before departure. He was silenced with $12,000 and a threat. If you open your mouth again, your daughter won't make it to school. No one mentioned it after that. And Sal, the only one who knew the car had been taken to a secret garage 2 days earlier, never dared to speak up. Sal became so paranoid that he stuffed cloth into door cracks every night, afraid of hidden cameras somewhere. Some say he hired a psychic. Others recount that he once called NBC in the middle of the night, crying and screaming, "I have footage of James Dean's relations, but I can't keep it anymore." The station hung up. 2 weeks later, the NBC office burned down. All call records disappeared. And that was just the beginning of the story. After James Dean's death, Sal Mineo was like a man who had lost his soul. He tried to keep living, keep acting, but the light in his eyes had gone out. 1963, Sal was slowly fading from the spotlight. The name that once drove millions of teenagers wild was now nothing but a faint memory. To hold on to what little fame remained, Sal played a risky hand. He publicly dated Jill Hayworth, the only daughter of a powerful film producer, someone with enough influence to flip any Hollywood story with just one phone call. For Sal, Jill was a lifeline. Beautiful, famous, untouchable, the perfect mask to hide the burning truth inside him. the truth that he needed to love a man. Then Bobby Sherman appeared. 4 years younger than Sal, shockingly innocent, but with eyes that made anyone forget where they were. They met during a recording session at NBC. Curious about the strange feelings he had for men, Bobby pulled Sal aside and asked, "If I don't feel anything when kissing a girl, is that wrong?" Sal smiled, stared at him for a long moment, then whispered, "It's not wrong. You just haven't kissed the right person yet." From that day, they started meeting secretly in a penthouse in Laurel Canyon, rented under a fake name. Bobby still called his girlfriend. Sal still attended parties with Jill, but when night fell, the two touched each other in silence, as if the outside world had never existed. But secrets are never kept in Hollywood. One August night in 1963, Sal was spotted leaving the Beverly Hills Hotel in sportswear and black sunglasses. A gardener saw the ring on his finger, the ring Bobby had worn on a TV show. At the same time, a hotel employee found a payment slip with two initials, SM and BS, matching the handwriting in Bobby's fan letters. Confidential magazine got the tip. A Cuban paparazzi followed Sal for 3 days before capturing the bombshell photo. Sal kissing Bobby's neck next to a car parked in a garage, where they thought no one could see. But the real explosion didn't come from the photo. It came from Jill Haworth. One afternoon, while searching for painkillers in Sal's bedroom drawer, Jill pulled out a music box. But inside weren't necklaces or love letters, but a cassette tape. It was a recording of Sal and Bobby. No words, just heavy breathing, but enough to make Jill smash the recorder on the floor and scream as if she'd been betrayed by both men and God. She didn't slap him, didn't tear photos. Instead, she quietly sent a 4-page letter to the Los Angeles Times, attaching a copy of the tape and titling it, "I am Sal Mineo's fiancé, and I heard him love a man." The story hit the papers on a Monday morning like a nuclear bomb. Paparazzi swarmed Jill. A photo showed her slamming her hand on the steering wheel in a parking lot, crying silently. Within days, Sal's career was completely destroyed. 2 films, a Broadway musical, a national talk show, all vanished in 72 hours. Bobby Sherman didn't escape either. His manager forced him to sign a document denying any emotional connection to Sal Mineo. Bobby agreed on one condition: all recordings and photos must be destroyed. A copy of the tape was burned in the sink at Universal Records studio. The original? No one knows where Sal hid it. Then Sal disappeared from the press. A month later, he was found sitting alone at a bar near the San Pedro Pier, eyes empty, scribbling Bobby's name on napkins. When the bartender asked, "Still love him?" Sal replied softly, "Love? I still dream about him." Bobby kept living. He appeared with a new girlfriend and told the press, half joking, half serious, "I love music, not men." The public laughed. Hollywood forgave. Bobby's career recovered. As for Sal, he was left with the tapes, a heart shattered from the inside, and a rumor growing darker than any tabloid ever printed. That Sal had another lover, more powerful than Bobby Sherman, more dangerous than James Dean. His name was Paul Newman, and if that secret leaked, not just one career would collapse, but an entire empire. If James Dean was the icon of rebellion, then Paul Newman was the icon of perfection. Piercing blue eyes that saw into your soul, a smile radiant like California sunshine, a model husband, a wonderful father, the cover face of every prestigious magazine. No one suspected Paul Newman had any secrets, until the rumors started in 1960. During the filming of Exodus in Beverly Hills, paparazzi from The Hollywood Reporter noticed Paul Newman frequently visiting a modest apartment on Benedict Canyon Road. Even more suspicious than Newman's appearances was Sal Mineo arriving there just minutes earlier. At the time, Sal was desperately trying to rekindle the fame that had faded after Rebel Without a Cause. And Newman? He was at the peak of his career. A model husband and father, king of covers with a smile as perfect as his crystal blue eyes. No one suspected any real connection. Until June 1961, when the National Enquirer leaked a bombshell, Paul Newman secretly meeting a male actor who once starred with James Dean. No photos, no names, But insiders whispered that an Italian reporter named Marco Allegri had seen Newman and Sal drive a silver Pontiac into a deserted parking lot behind the Beverly Hilton Hotel. Right after that article, The Hollywood Reporter arranged an exclusive interview with Sal. Editor Richard Porter confirmed Sal admitted, "Paul is the man I love the most. And in that moment after filming, I've never seen anyone look at me like he did." But that article was never published. 3 hours after submission, Warner Brothers issued a cease and desist, threatening to cancel all advertising contracts if it was printed. 2 hours later, the article vanished from the system. Sal's phone line was cut that same day. The newsroom was purged. Low-level staff were fired within 3 weeks. Sal, confused, called Newman. No answer. He sent letters. No response, just a folded note from an anonymous assistant. "Don't mention him or us." Signed, P. But the most haunting detail wasn't a photo. It was a tape. According to an insider at Paramount, Sal recorded a final conversation with Newman in which he asked to go public with their relationship. And Newman replied, "I love you, but not enough to lose everything for you." The tape was hidden in a Super 8 film box behind a painting in Sal's Santa Monica apartment. After Sal's death in 1976, the apartment was ransacked, according to police records, by unidentified individuals. Everything was intact, except that film box. It was gone. Newman never uttered Sal's name. Not in memoirs, not in interviews, not in press releases, but Sal's friends never forgot. They said Sal was never as broken as he was with Paul, because Paul was the only man who made him believe in true love, then treated him like a mistake that needed to be buried. After all the broken hearts, after all the broken promises, after all the buried secrets, there was finally one man who stayed. His name was Courtney Burr. Courtney wasn't famous, not handsome like James, not charming like Newman, not dangerous like Brando. He was just an acting coach, quiet, anonymous, but he knew all the men who had passed through Sal's life, and Sal knew Courtney wasn't there to use him. He was there to stay. They lived together for 6 years, quietly, avoiding cameras, avoiding neighbors' eyes. Whenever Sal fell into a panic from the press, Courtney would lock himself in the room with him, turn off all the lights, play music, and hold Sal's hand until he fell asleep. The press called him roommate, but neighbors heard sobs in the middle of the night, whispers of names spoken like a secret husband calling his life partner. Then came the night of February 12th, 1976. Sal was stabbed right outside his door. Blood soaked the sidewalk, keys still in the lock. The first to open the door was Courtney. According to the police report, Courtney sat beside Sal's body for over 7 minutes before calling 911. He didn't scream, didn't cry. He just said one thing to the dispatcher: "The man I love has been murdered." But that wasn't the headline the media wanted. Within 24 hours, every major paper screamed, "Who was the last to see Sal Mineo alive? Co-star, romantic rival, or killer?" The Hollywood Inquirer even ran an exclusive: Sal's death, a dangerous 6-year affair finally exposed. They didn't let Courtney grieve. A reporter sneaked into the apartment and photographed belongings, describing an unopened bottle of wine and 2 half-filled glasses, clear signs someone had dined with Sal that night. They twisted Courtney from grieving partner to suspect, to unreliable survivor. No one asked how Courtney felt. No one mentioned that he had carefully given Sal antidepressants every night. No one acknowledged that Courtney had hidden Sal's final recording, where Sal named the men he'd slept with, then erased all traces. After the funeral, Courtney went to the cemetery alone. No family, no film industry colleagues. Just him and a bouquet of white flowers on a grave still stamped controversial. Courtney never gave interviews, never wrote memoirs, never sought recognition for their love. But in a single letter to Sal's old friend, he wrote just one line: "They think he survived, but he died that same night with him. Just hasn't been buried yet." Courtney Burr, Sal's last lover, the only one who stayed until the final moment. And the man treated not as a mourner, but as an accusation. Sal Mineo died. But the real death didn't come from a stranger's knife. It came from a system, an industry, a society that wouldn't let him live true to himself. Hollywood doesn't kill with guns. Hollywood kills by silencing you, then making the world doubt the victim instead of the perpetrator. Sal Mineo may have loved the wrong people, or maybe he loved the right people at the wrong time. But one thing is certain: he died carrying too many secrets. And to this day, no one dares reveal all he knew, or all he kept hidden. His apartment was ransacked, tapes disappeared, documents destroyed, and his death? Quickly framed by the press as a random robbery. But too many details don't add up. Too much evidence vanished. Too many people silent. Was Sal's death just a random coincidence? Or was it a quiet cleanup by an entire industry? I'll let you decide. But remember this: in a world where truth is more dangerous than lies, those who dare speak the truth often don't live long enough to tell their story. Sal Mineo dared, and he paid the price. So what about you? Do you think Sal's death was just random? Or do you believe it was a secret cleanup job by a powerful empire? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, because there are even more truths buried under Hollywood's dust. And the next names on the list might make you shiver to your bones. Thank you for listening. And remember, the truth always finds a way to surface, no matter how long it takes.